Right then guys, so today we're going to be working with Calvin. He's a very good friend from school, back in the school days. Right then, so we're going to have a backwards moving haircut today. We're going to have a subtle taper on the sides and leaving the full length of the back. So it's going to be fully moving, pretty much as it is. Just going to sort all the length out, regain all the shape and taper the sides. So I start doing this, sorry guys, combing it all forward again. Creating my foundation. So finding your point, your crown, the point of origin, where all your hair starts to grow. So the Calvin's there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. I'm creating my foundation. Nice clean section. Moving with the growth of the hair to the top of the recession. Doing exactly the same the other side. Remembering if any hair isn't sitting properly in the section and it doesn't belong there, so you need to resection it. Coming around. Section with feel. And then with sight. I'm just going to section all of the top. Now, creating my foundation, as I always do, I will start at the back. So now obviously Calvin is having a backwards moving haircut with the length of the back. So now we're going to pull down on the recession. We're going to pull down on the back of the foundation, maintaining all of this length here. Because if you take this too short, that means this is going to be way too short. It's not a creative backwards moving haircut, it's a subtle backwards moving haircut. So a wearable one in the future for Calvin to do subtly. Nice and easy. So as you pull it down, maintaining all the tension, maintaining all the weight to the back as well. So I'm pulling down and I'm pulling my fingers out. So this is all of the length that's going to be left here, whilst maintaining that shape there. Because if I was to put my knuckles to the head here, that means that's going to be a fully tapered nape. We do not want that. So with this haircut, we're going to pull down to maintain the length here, and pull out away from the skull here to maintain the length underneath, to make sure that we're not tapering the back. Look on this side, and we'll look right to left. So now I've got my guide here. And same this side, I'm going to just work around the hair, around the head. So you've got your guide, and then you've got the bits that you need to cut from the previous haircut. Keeping it square on the corners. I'm going to pivot. So then you've got your guide, you got your old cut, your new cut, sorry, and the original cut. Sorry. Right. Add it out. You got your new cut, which is your new guide, and you got your previous cut from before. So you come straight through. Angling it slightly more in here, so we're not going to have a full U going around. We're going to angle it slightly in, because he is going to have a natural taper coming through. Not too much, so my knuckles are never going to be tight to the head. You're maintaining the length, and remembering that you're only going to be subtle taper in here. If I was going for a skin taper here, maybe it would be a bit tighter. Well, it would be a bit tighter here, but I'm going to maintain the shape in between U shape. As you can see, my fingers are coming straight off here. So whereas before, with every other cut you've seen me do, it would be coming around. and very tight here. But it's going to start angling out towards the front. Using the previous cut, forward cut. Yep. Always go back, double check your work. We are only human. There we are, we're back to our point of origin, our start point. We'll spin around, you have to cut it this way. Exactly the same process. Pull it down. New cut, old cut. Long bit in the middle, take it off. Making sure you haven't got too much of a cutting line. So my end cutting line is here, so my guideline now has changed the size of my fingers. So that is where my finished cut is going to be. This is where my new cut's going to be. Never leaving your fingers come off, so you always got your guide, so it catches your hair. Because if you take your fingers off, you're going to lose the line. It's harder to get it back that way. So if you keep on just keeping leaving your fingers there after you've cut, then your fingers will catch the comb in the hair. Going around. This is another safety blanket, that is, guys. Making your work easier for yourself, so you're maintaining that length, maintaining that straight line, maintaining it coming through. As you can see, previous cut, new cut, old cut. That's your foundation done. You know then when that's styled, coming back, nice length, and just maintaining the length here. So that's the shape I'm going to be having. It's going to be naturally tapered at the back. It's not a full taper, otherwise you'd be going a lot tighter here. Now I'm going to go from the point of origin of the hair, the crown, straight through the middle to connect my elevation line. That is that section. So from growth pattern to growth pattern, remembering it's a backwards moving haircut, so as we get to the front we're going to be pulling out a lot further than normal, than you have seen me doing in previous cuts, because we're going to want to elevate the front, coming back down. So as if we come through, and for fuck's sake. Right. So with our shape, with our U shape, we're coming round. If we're coming straight here, then the fringe is going to be shorter on the corners. But with our elevation line, the further we bring it away, the more weight is going to be in the corners, and the more weight is going to be emphasising through the centre. And obviously the vice versa. If we're going to come round, the fringe will be short. Then, like you see me doing my previous cuts, I've come around. So connecting this, elevating it a little bit to take the weight out of the corners, the back. So underneath, you have your guide. Elevate it a little bit. If you notice, elevating, so I'm not coming down, removing the weight already, so it saves me a job as you come forward, as you go through. Ah, my God! So with the elevation, we're removing the weight already, so it saves me a job further through the haircut. Guideline. And as you can see, my fingers are moving away from the head here, further away. Maintaining the length in the fringe. And as you can see, the back, there's no lines or nothing here. We haven't got the top yet, so there's going to be some scissor marks coming through here. But this is emphasising and making the weight more subtle coming through the back. Just it's a lot easier for Calvin to style himself. Same process this side. Finding your base, your foundation line, and elevating it to the length that you need. Foundation underneath, but I've elevated it. Just going to take loads of weight out of the corners. Same process. As you can see, my fingers are coming that angle. And before I do the sides, I come back, create a centre profile straight through the middle. I'm going to make a completely new guide before I match the top up. Again, remembering safety blankets. So I'm going to start from the back, make sure it matches into the foundation, which is here. Put loads of tension through the hair, making sure you're not missing any. There's no slackness here. That means that your cut is not going to be even if it is loads of slack here. As you can see, so using line theory, I'm coming round here, and now it's going to angle straight, so it's got more length towards the front. Guideline. Guideline, and as you can see now my fingers are more square. Just double check, go back through your work. Nothing wrong with going back through your work. It's better to do it now than what will be wondering, scratching your head later on. Make sure you have got all the stragglers. Now comb it all to one side. This is where the other safety blanket comes into it, as you know if you've seen my other previous videos. So I'm going to section, little sections like that, and put it back up and connect the dots. So the safety blanket is my elevation line, my centre profile line. Take the long bit off in the middle. Section again. Same process, same principle, safety lines. Elevation line, centre profile line, long bit in the middle, take it off. And I'm pulling it back into the old section. So I got 3 guidelines now. So I've got one that's previous cut, I've got the elevation line and the centre profile line. can't go wrong. Same, and if you put up like that, you can see your guideline underneath. There's a straight line underneath, but you've still got the safety blankets either side as well. Little sections to maintain there's no scissor marks running through the hair. As you can see, there's a little long bit there, so you come through, get rid of this before you need to, and when you're moving on back onto the sides. So that will, if you want to keep a nice, really heavy, square, weighted line coming through the channels, leave this hair here. But I don't like that, so we're going to take it off. It's nice and easy. You got a safety blanket, 1, 2, take it off. Same again, you take your guideline, so now I've sectioned the right side of the centre profile and sectioned it over. So you're going to do exactly the same as you were on the other side. Section 1 is there. Sorry. I'm going to connect. I'm going to pull this up and through. Center profile line, elevation line, connect it. Remember, pulling back, not forward, and that's to connect and make sure there's no scissor marks. Elevation line, center profile line, connect it through. Same again, and this is where you will really see the third safety blanket, which is the previous cut. Bringing it back through the fringe, center profile line, elevation line, take it off. Ooh. And don't do that. And just to double check, pick your fingers up, straight to the middle. And if you need to, or there's any stragglers, there's not there, not there, there's not there. This is what I mean by safety blankets, guys. So there's a little bit here, but with the safety blankets you've just seen how perfect those first 4 sections were. You have to touch them. That means it's saving you time and you're more efficient with your clients. Now we're moving on to the sides. So we're all the hair back down, that's dried. So what I'm going to do, so your foundation is coming through here, yeah? So what you're going to do, you're going to disconnect the top by putting a recession line to the opposite corner of the nape, line straight through. So that section will look like that. As you can see, straight through, straight back around, down. The reason why I disconnect the top is I want to make sure I'm maintaining all of the shape on the sides as to the foundation, nothing to do with the top. So what I'm going to do here, remembering at all times what haircut he is having, the client is having. In my case it's Calvin. So what are we doing here? First section, you've already got your foundation line. Remembering he's having a subtle taper, he's not having a skin taper or anything on the sides here, and he's maintaining all the length here. So when someone comes in and asks you for a little subtle taper or taper on the sides but leave the length of the back, and you don't want it to look like a mullet, obviously, otherwise it would ask you for a mullet. So you need to make it as subtle as you can, but keeping most of the length lower down. And by doing that, make a smaller section even. Took a bit too much hair there. So my fingers are going to be tight to the head here. So I'm going to take this off, but then your foundation is going to come into play roughly about this section. So you're creating a new foundation for your clippers here. And then another small section here, just behind, and you match the top part into your foundation. So there's your foundation, taking it down and off. Next section, going straight down. Sorry guys, I'm cutting and you can't even see the sections I'm doing. Do apologise. Over the ear, now you're going to want to maintain most of this length here. So, when you normally do a tapered back, I would normally come through straight down and take my fingers tight to the head here. We're not going to do that this time. So now I'm going to work perfectly to my foundation. My foundation is here. These are the long bits that need to come off. Obviously, my fingers are going to be straight here. What that is doing when your fingers are coming straight is maintaining it, because you're elevating away from the head down here, it's maintaining the length at the bottom. You know, because if you were going in, then obviously you would naturally create the perfect shape for a taper. Shape over length, this is guys, shape over length. Foundation, haircut, boom. Maintaining, that's not why I will not cut that, because the cutting line is from here to here. If I was to go in then and cut that there, that close to my knuckles at the bottom, that close to my palm, there's a high chance I'm going to cut my palm. You don't want to be doing that guys, it hurts. You've got your new cut there, old cut, maintaining shape over length, all the way through. My fingers are pulling away slightly from the head here now. Same as I was doing with the fringe here, elevating away from pulling my fingers away from the fringe. We're going to be pulling away from the nape. Slightly, not too much. So that's that section done there. Create another section, 1 inch. Some people's inches are bigger than others. Making it a bit more wet, wetting it a bit more. to make sure that the section stays nice and clean. If the hair starts to pull over, it's probably because it's not wet enough, guys. And then simply pulling it out, so you're not over directing it or under directing it, you're pulling it straight out. So obviously if you're pulling it further this way, you'd make too much length coming back when you're styling it backwards. If you're coming this way, you'd make it too round or too, not enough weight there to maintain the shape that you want it to. So it's going to come straight out with your guide from underneath from the previous cut. That's the foundation I've done already. So this is the previous cut, that's my guide. Oh, I don't know what's the matter with me today. Maintaining the square haircut, your fingers square at the bottom to maintain the squareness at the back. And as the sections come back and back and back, you go further in to the back of the head, you slightly start coming, so I'll show you. So the foundation's there. So you've got your foundation, new cut, take it off. Again, maintaining the level finger, so it's not coming, you're not over directing it or under directing it. You're literally keeping it the same each cut. And again, as you get through to the centre of the back of the head, then you start to come around a bit more. Because otherwise you're going to be having too much weight coming through when you're styling it. Like so. And back through, taking all the stragglers off at the bottom. The good thing is, guys, with doing this cut, so from the recession to the opposite corner of the nape, is that when you come to do this side, you literally only have to do half of the head because it's matching. You've already cut this, pretty much all of the back of the head. So that's a little cheat code. Again, you get your previous cut underneath this time. Pulling out again, not over directing it. Making sure your guideline is always there as well. Make sure your sections are clean, you're pulling through. And as you can see, that's going to be as natural as you can get it without it looking like a mullet. And now the final section, you don't actually need to make a section because you're going off the original recession to bottom of the corner. Making sure you're taking all the weight off the corners. This is already done. Coming through. Original new cut. But as you can see, then you've got the underneath guide. This is the curvature of the head is helping you. You can help it be as natural as possible. So this is your original foundation. Curvature of the head. out, and as you can see now, my fingers are level. I'm not going in, not going out, they're level. So this is, we're going to make sure that this is all uniform down here. Spin it around. You can see my fingers. Previous cut, new cut, sorry, previous cut. Long bit in the middle. Going back through to double check, make sure there's not too much weight there. As you can see, I missed a bit. Now that's just simple human error, but as you can see, as a part of my foundation. As you can see, there's a heavier mark there. That's just keep on coming it back up, keep on coming it back up. Too much, not enough elevation was taken there. Almost took my finger off then. There you are. Let's match it again. Pull it into the previous section, back up if you need to. Coming through, down, fine. And now we're going to do exactly the same on this side. From recession, the bottom of the nape, opposite corner of the nape. Sorry. So exactly the same as the other side. We're going to go from recession to the opposite corner of the nape. Now, remembering the shape, what you cut in. Remember why you cut in this part. So remember, I'm going to create a new foundation here because I want the clippers to go straight into it. But it's going to be a very subtle taper. Oh, Jesus Christ. A very subtle taper. So knuckles are pretty much to the head there. As you come through, for the next section, pull it out a bit further. You got your foundation here. Maintaining, making sure that section, maybe I'll have that one here. Sure that section's always clean. So this is the original foundation. Remembering, I'm not going for a taper. I was literally just going to cut. If I can, is it in the camera? Yeah. Head over a little bit. That's it. So that's your foundation. Take this length off. Just following it straight down. Remember, not over directing anything. Fucking hell. I don't want to use this contact, do I? Really. Finger is still out, away from the head, that's tight. Take it out, I'm not angling it in to the taper. Next section. This side is going to be a lot quicker than the other side because I've already cut most of the back. Again, get your foundation here. Gonna come through, not over directing it. Remembering your cutting line. Not going too far into the palm. Foundation. As you get down, just match it through. As long as your fingers are square, you will have a guide underneath as well. And here we go, we're meeting the cut that I done just now. So this side is a lot quicker. I'll still go through the sections just to make sure. Foundation, previous cuts, new cuts, boom. And obviously, just to double check, make sure that there's no stragglers. Won't be coming through the section that goes straight from the nape, from the recession to the nape. I'm going to wait out of this corner, making it more manageable while we're styling. There we have it. A lovely, subtle, backwards, moving, and naturally taper sides. I will use clippers on the sides, which is going to be a subtle taper. I'm going to go on to the styling. Alright, so now I'm going to style and use a Ruger salt spray. Not too much of it, this is just going to enhance the elevation and the dryness of the haircut. I want it a bit of a subtle look, I don't want it too creative, I'd imagine. Yeah, I'm not going for a creative look, I'm going for an everyday way. Not too much. Comb it all through. And I'm going to use a little bit of Essential, which is like a dry mat, and a little bit of satin. Rub right away through it. This is going to maintain the shape. This is going to help you maintain the shape and create that hole that you're looking for. So run it all right away through. I do apologise guys, I have got a barbershop in a gym and the gym door's there, like it's like 6 feet away. So if you can hear banging and rackets and people laughing and joking, there's people in the gym. It's nothing to do with the barbershop. I do apologise. Just wash my hands. Ah. Hi. I was going to start the fringe by pulling it forward with my brush bringing it forward, going up and around. This is going to create elevation in the fringe. And then we're going to go straight back all the way through, all the way through, all the way through. So it's going to create a nice, unique look coming through the back channel, through the centre of the head. And I'm going to elevate all the side parts, just coming through, up and through like that. Just nice and subtle, nothing too creative. Very, very easy for someone else to redo as well. So it's going to look like that, but a bit more elevation in it. Full speed, full heat. Now why I'm pulling it like this is it's going to dry the fringe this way, and then it's going to be able to maintain the elevation coming through it, the volume. So as you can see, the fringe has already got that elevation in it, the volume. Working from behind, pulling it back in with the fringe. So make more of that motion. And then slowly start working the fringe back into the back of the hair. Going from the root up and out. I'm working. I'm working it back through the back. Right the way down through to the nape. Then you know get too hot back. As you can see, it's kept a nice natural neckline at the back. And on the other side. The fringe is already done. Pull the fringe back, forward, getting the elevation of the roof, coming through. through again, folding it right down to the back, maintaining that subtle, nice, natural shape. Using the air to direct the flow of the hair. And forward a little bit. Go back into the root, pulling it down, back into the root. Now the back is almost fully dry. Now we're going to elevate the sides and come up and around. Now that you've got the elevation on the sides coming up and back, it's time to drop the back piece back around. And this is where how you create this is you just move the comb or the hairdryer with the brush, bring it around. It will create that natural curvature around the skull, around the head, and back through. So now, you can see it going up and around with the brush. That's that one. That's that side done. Round, as you can see, trim around the ears. So that's a natural neck. I'll take all the stragglers off at the end. It's a natural neck. Same on this side. Line it up, and create the elevation. And then going around create that natural neckline. And again, I've got the same this side. Nice, natural shape. Now I'm going to move on to the clippers for a subtle taper look. Starting with a 3, I'm going to go up and skim past the new foundation that we put in. I'm literally just going to skim up and through. Use my barber list, 3, open, and skim up and through it. Close it, go underneath again, skimming past it. Remember, the hair is moving backwards anyway, so it's moving in the opposite direction, so you can subtly glide with the hair and not take anything off. And drop it down to a 2. I'm going to be working all the way down to a 1, because I'm not going to take it to skin. Again, subtly going into the 3 that we just created. Down to a 1, open. Half closed, half open, closed. Back to my icons. Just a nibble around the ear. Pull down in the lobe, in the ear, pull your fingers down, and just nibble around. And now that is your taper, your naturally subtle taper done. So I'm going to create a nice regrowth for Calvin, for your client. And pull it down the back and just take all the stragglers off with the scissors. Again, remembering you're leaving a natural line, so it's not, you're not too perfect. It's more natural for the regrowth as well. Use your detailers to clean it up. Battery's going to go down. No. So this is this side done for the taper. Making sure it's nice and naturally cleaned up underneath. Move on to the other side. Same process. Starting off with the 3 of the clippers. So as you got the first foundation you put in, 3 open, skimming through. Closed, so the 3 open, the 3 closed. Dropping it down to 2 open. 2 closed. 1 open. 1 closed. A little bit of clip over comb with needs must. You didn't have to on the other side. But this side's been a bit more. Again then, you're going to nibble around the ear with the scissors. Create a natural line at the nape. You have it, tape it done. Backwards moving haircut. Nice and easy one. Very maintainable for the client. Very easy for him to restyle. As you can see, the comb's just flying through it, so I haven't used too much product. I haven't styled it too creatively. Now onto the shape up. Now here we just remove the baby hairs as we do in every haircut. Create a nice C. Same this side. Taking all away the baby hairs and stragglers on the forehead. Got a nice subtle C-cut here. So one of the haircuts you almost don't want it to look like he's had a haircut. It's that subtle. Clean all the ears, clean the nape. That is my full backwards moving haircut, full scissor cut, a little bit of clippers towards the end with a little bit of a subtle taper. It's going to be very, very manageable for the client to reweigh, to recreate that shape because of the cutting techniques we've used. Coming through, the shape is naturally, it's perfectly in line with the style that he's going to naturally wear it most of the day, most days. Probably won't have to put any product in it unless he wants a little bit of hold. As you can see, there's no scissor marks coming through. It's all natural, the tape was perfect. Exactly what he would wear. Thank you for watching, guys.